Yeah, there's some article that came out that said that scientifically Sinister is the scariest film ever made.
No.
Y'all have seen
Suspiria
3 films.
2018 is the scariest film ever made in the world.
You always. Welcome to Smores Indoors and the most unique movie collector interview series here on YouTube, The Collector's Inquisition. I am Corey, your host, and my guest for this episode. You know this guy from his channel, PlaidX2. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John to the show. John, what's going on?
Doing good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Hey, thanks for being on, first off. I wanted to say that. Big fan of your channel. Love your content. Love the 5, especially. I think I told you that kind of when we were setting this show up. But I love what you do with that show. So
cool,
thanks
man.
for your content you put out there.
Well, thanks for inviting me to be part of this. I've watched, as we were chatting before, I've watched every episode, and so I enjoy this very much. So this is a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to this.
Appreciate it. So for anybody that is new to your channel, I do have you linked below in the description, but I want to give you a moment here to talk a little bit about your channel so people can know what you're all about.
Sure. Yeah. So it's the PlaidX2 channel, and on YouTube and in Instagram, there's an account there, and it's about movies, music, and books. And I collect all 3. It's primarily a channel of movies, but music and books. Music has become a bit bigger recently, and books is always kind of an undertone there. So, but yeah, so that's what it's about. So I do haul videos, some rankings, some collections videos. Yeah. And then I do a thing called The 5. We just finished 20 episodes where I ask 5 questions to different guests, and they respond with 5 films. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, everybody definitely go check the PlaidX2 channel out, and I'm sure you'll enjoy all the content that John puts out there. So, all right, it's about that time. Are you ready for the Inquisition, John?
I've watched all the episodes, so I have my paper.
There you go.
So write numbers down to not repeat myself.
That is helpful. All right, well, we'll kick it off if you're ready to go, and we'll start with number 1. What's your first number?
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
So I've watched every episode, and so there are times when I'm watching where I'm wondering if like a certain question has never been asked, like a certain number has never been picked.
Yes.
So are you okay if I, like, for my first 10, can I do 1 through 10?
Sure.
Because I'm so curious about questions maybe I've never heard yet. So
okay, yeah, not a problem.
All right, cool.
All right, so number 1.
Yeah, start at number 1.
Is what was the first DVD you bought?
Oh boy. I honestly don't remember, man. So I'm starting off with a home run by not failing to be able to answer this question. I think it might have been The Sixth Sense. I'm not sure if that was the first VHS or the first DVD, but I think it might have been The Sixth Sense.
Okay.
Because I remember seeing that in theater with my wife. We were just married, and I was so angry at the end of that movie. I was like, they made a mistake. There's no way that he went through that whole thing without talking to anybody. And I think it was that one. I think that's the first one.
Yeah, that was probably around that early DVD era. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was either a VHS or the DVD. Yeah, it's one of those 2, man.
Okay, cool. So number 2.
Yeah.
We're going number 2. I like your approach here. What is the most you're willing to spend on a single physical media purchase?
Well, if you watch my channel, you know I thrift all the time. I'm mostly a Goodwill, Facebook Marketplace. So I'm not typically a day of guy. The last day of purchase I did was that last Spider-Man movie. And I really wanted that Walmart slipcover.
Gotcha.
So, but that said, there's a band out of Seattle in the 90s. And it's the most I've ever spent on anything. And they had a demo album that you just couldn't get. They sold it out of the back of their van when they were just doing like pre-signed to a label. Right. And so I really wanted it. And so I get into a bidding war with someone. This is like over 20 years ago. And I paid $75 for a CD that had like 10 songs on it. So That's by far the most I've ever spent. I don't think I would have spent, even if you cut that in half, I've never spent that on anything else. So I'm a huge fan of the band, so I had to have that. So
Sure. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right. Number 3 is, what is your favorite comedy movie of all time?
I go back and forth. It's Dumb and Dumber and Tommy Boy. That would be,
Okay.
they would share that. It just depends on the day. Dumb and Dumber holds a more nostalgic, important place in my heart because of my wife and I story and watching that movie. But Tommy Boy is just one of the best comedies of all time, like so quotable. And so yeah, those two would be 1 and 2 for me, just depending on the day.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4 is, what is your least favorite genre of film?
Horror, for sure.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah, by far.
You came to the right channel, by the way.
Yeah, it's not. I think what ruined it for me was I was really little. I went to a friend's house for a sleepover, and at that point in my life, the movies I was watching were like Benji, like that little dog. Do you remember those Benji movies? So
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
the level of movies I'm at.
Okay.
And my friend at his sleepover put it in Pet Cemetery, the first one, and so I went from Benji to Pet Cemetery, and I think that ruined me for horror. I remember my face being in the pillow for like 90% of that movie. I remember looking up and seeing that scalpel, and the kid goes down with the.
Yes.
Dude, there was so it's horror, but I think the reason is because it ruined me. So
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, I think I was far too young to see Pet Cemetery.
Okay. That's fair. Number 5. Who is your favorite actor and why?
So is this actor or actress?
Just
Or-
actor.
Actor?
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna have to say Chaplin. Charlie
Okay.
Chaplin. Yeah, he. I think he's I think he was a genius. I think what he was able to choreograph was amazing, and he was a genius at what he did. And his films will make me laugh my head off, and I will cry in them. And they'll also make me think, because he was also said a lot of things in his films. Like, he was pretty outspoken. So I think it would be him. If we fast forward to today, it'd probably be Mel Gibson. I do love his stuff.
Okay.
I know it's not popular to like him,
Right.
but I think as an actor, he's pretty incredible. So his body of work is pretty amazing.
Do you have a favorite Chaplin film?
Probably The Kid, because that was where I started with him, and it's a heartwarming one, but it's funny. City Lights would be the second one for me, because it's a great
Gotcha.
story. And so yeah, but probably The Kid, just because I began there.
Okay. I was asking because I'm not real familiar with his work. I haven't gone back there, but I was curious what's some good starting points. So maybe The Kid is a good starting point for someone.
Yeah, and then if you jump up to so that would be in his silent era. If you jumped into his talkies, The Dictator would be one. I'm forgetting the names of them, but there's 2 others. The Criterion Collection has 8, and I think 3 of the Monsieur Verdoux would be another talkie, and I'm not remembering the third. But the Criterion Collection has 8 of them, and I think 3 of them are talkies.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate the info on that.
Yeah.
Number 6 is, this kind of goes, we're going right down the line here. What is your favorite Criterion release?
I'm probably going to. I think The Kid was the first Criterion release I ever bought, the Chaplin film, and that just that introduced me to silent film, and it introduced me to Chaplin, and it introduced me to the Criterion Collection. So for me, it's a pretty significant release.
Sure.
Because at the time, I remember looking on their website and going, "Oh, I think there's probably about 4 or 5 Criterions I'd like to collect," and now I'm up to, I think, about 70, and I have a list of about 10 more I want to get. So I was super confident, like, oh, there's probably 5 on this label I'd be interested in. And
Right.
yeah, it hasn't stopped. So so that's an important release for me. It introduced me to a ton of different genres, actors, actresses, and the label. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Number 7 is name a movie that is considered a classic that you haven't seen.
I've never seen Gone with the Wind.
Okay.
For horror fans, up until last year, I'd never seen Halloween, and
Oh, wow.
so I'd never seen Halloween, never seen Carrie, and I watched both of them for the first time last year.
How'd you feel about them? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I was emotionally amped up that Halloween would be the most horrific thing I've ever seen,
Right.
and it wasn't close to it. It was, and so I had hyped myself up. And if I talked to someone, they would have told me, you don't have to get that amped up about it, you know? So for me, I ended up laughing a lot in it because I felt like it was a bit of a Where's Waldo, where he kept popping up behind cars and bushes. So
Yeah.
it started making me laugh. So there's that, which I know is blasphemous to horror fans. But I will say this, within 15 minutes of watching it, while I'm not a horror guy, I was like, my goodness, this is exactly why it's a classic. The aesthetics of it, it's amazing. And I can see why people like October 1, you want to watch that. You know, Halloween has to happen in the month of October. It was so aesthetically amazing. And I watched an old DVD copy, which I think even heightened my experience because it was a little bit grainy. And so yeah. And Carrie, I liked. The jump scare got me at the end. That got me at the end. The mom, I just was angry the entire time at the mom. Like that was the horror of the film, was the mom. And so yeah, Gone with the Wind. And for horror, I did knock them off the list, the horror ones, but I still haven't seen Gone with the Wind.
There you go. Okay. Number 8 is, what's your favorite movie with Tom Hanks in the cast?
That Thing You Do.
Okay.
And he doesn't even play that big a role, but
Right.
he directed it. He's in it a bit. I love Tom Hanks. I have a bunch of his movies, but that movie, if I just want to feel happy, joy, I'll throw That Thing You Do in.
Sure.
And he's great as that manager. He's so it's a fun movie. The music's killer. It's just you feel good the entire movie. So
Definitely. All right. Number 9 is, do you remember what the first movie was that you saw in the theater?
Yeah, it would have been Benji. It would have been
Okay.
the same kid who I went to his sleepover with. He took me at his birthday party a year before to Benji. And that was the first theater experience.
It sounds like this was just a plan by this kid to ruin your life.
You should pay for my counseling. That kid messed me up. I trusted him after watching Benji.
Right. It's like, oh, we're going to watch another animal movie here.
Yeah. It's just about a little kitty cat.
Oh,
so it would be Benji. Yeah.
All right. Well, number 10 is, what is the best looking steelbook you've ever seen?
I don't have a huge steelbook collection personally, but 2 I have that I love that I'll never get rid of. Stephanie Movie Chatter had sent me It's a Wonderful Life last year, the 4K steelbook, and that is gorgeous. I absolutely love that one. And then I picked up like 5 years ago, and I always forget the name of the artist who did them, but the Universal Monsters, the black and white steelbooks.
Yes.
I don't remember the artist's name, but I picked up Frankenstein.
Yeah.
It's not Frank Miller. That's Batman, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm not sure who did those, but I know the ones you're talking about.
So yeah, it's the Frankenstein one is the one I picked up. It was on sale at FYE, and I love it. It's got that clear slip that goes over top of it.
Yeah.
Killer. So It's a Wonderful Life and Frankenstein. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, those are my 2 favorites.
All right, we got through your first 10. What's your number 11?
You know what, man? The other thing I was thinking about doing, I won't do it, but I was thinking about even doing like a basketball jersey numbers for all of these. Picking 25 jerseys. So I will go 33 because I'm a Celtics guy. So Larry Bird. I'll do it with that jersey.
You know what's cool? You bring up Larry Bird. I know you're a Boston guy.
Yeah.
I live probably an hour and a half from French Lick, where he grew up. So
No way.
yes. So
is there like a
cool.
ton of stuff in the area?
There is.
That?
There's some stuff like I think there's a little museum for him there, but that whole area, there's a huge like resort there. It's called West Baden and French Lick. It's they're kind of a like twin sister community.
Okay.
And it's a big, I guess, vacation-y type of spot. There's a big Pete Dye golf course there and all kind of stuff. So it's a pretty cool area. So yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. Number 33 is: do you ever cry during movies?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, it's like a regular thing.
Yeah.
And man, it was like in my 20s earlier. No, never. Like, didn't matter what was on the screen. The older I get, especially after having kids, it's just like the waterworks come pretty easy. Even if I like watch sports, I hate hockey so much. I'm Canadian, I should love it, but I hate it. And even if I'm like flipping through and like whatever team wins the Stanley Cup, just seeing the joy on their faces, I start crying. And I don't even like the game. And the older I get, man, I cry all the time. So,
any certain movie that really brings it on quick?
I just watched The Shack recently. I cried like 70% of that movie. I watched Our Friend, same thing. Wonder, have you seen that with a kid where it's a space helmet? Yeah. I cried the whole thing, and then for about 10 minutes afterwards. Patch Adams, when he gets the pool of noodles with that little old lady in it.
Yeah.
Sob. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be easier to tell you films that don't make me cry.
Okay. Hey, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, man. It's pretty
I totally get you with the kid thing, because once I had kids, it was like a whole different level on the emotional scale, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it is. Yeah, it gets me every single time.
Yeah. All right, number 12.
Let's go to the end. Let's go 150.
All right. I know what the question is. I just got to figure out how to word it.
Oh.
All right, here it is. What is your favorite non-movie or media-related YouTube channel, and why?
Non-media related. The two I would watch the most would be Impractical Jokers.
Okay.
I watch those all the time. I've never seen the actual show, so I watch all YouTube clips of the show.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm missing a lot probably, but I've seen a ton. And then the other thing is I'm a huge basketball fan. So ESPN, Sports Center, all of those, just basketball commentary. Gotcha. For me, that's what lunch is. Lunch is Impractical Jokers and basketball commentary. So
nice. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. 13.
Let's go 100.
Okay. Oh, let's see what we got here. So what could movie theaters do to improve the experience of going there?
Food options. So I try to, now that I'm getting older, we've mentioned, I'm trying to rein in what I eat, and yeah, probably some different options maybe. Gotcha. So I don't have to like stuff all my pockets with things and go in.
Right.
So I'm willing to pay for it, but
yeah.
Maybe some other options, yeah, would be good.
Yeah, there's not much health food at the movie theater, that's for sure. So
no, and I don't eat like crazy healthy, but just yeah, it would be good.
Yeah, I got you.
I prefer Twizzlers, but my doctor doesn't prefer it, so
I understand.
Yeah.
14.
Let's go 21. Dominique Wilkins.
All right. I like the approach to basketball numbers. What music inspires you?
Music's my first love in collecting, so I've been collecting that forever. I would say lately what inspires me, I've been listening to everything Jack White. So all of his solo stuff. His last two solo albums are phenomenal. But so I've been listening to everything back to the White Stripes. So the Raconteurs, the Dead Weather, and then his solo stuff. So currently, that's what's inspiring me music-wise.
Cool.
But in general, it's everything. I love Louis Armstrong. I love Johnny Cash. I love Rage Against the Machine. I love Nirvana. Yeah, so my music is really wide, but
Sure.
yeah. But right now, Jack White is inspiring me currently.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I've got. Is it Lazaretto? I have that on vinyl.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I went a couple of years ago to Third Man Records down in Nashville.
No way.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'd really love to go check that place out. I've watched like tours on YouTube, but I've never been in person.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Number 15.
So it was 21. 104.
Okay. What movie never gets old to you no matter how many times you've seen it?
It's a weird comfort movie, but John Wick is what I put on
Okay.
if I'm doing work and I just need something in the background. I'll put John Wick on. If I can't sleep, I'll put John Wick on, which is probably a psychological issue. Him just mowing down people, and that's what calms me.
I think we found it. It all goes back to Pet Sematary for you.
Pet Sematary ruined me as a human.
Everything is just messed up.
Yeah, man. I was such an innocent child, and then Benji, then that, and done. So,
Hey, now you're here on this show. So
yeah,
I
there you
don't know
go.
what this is.
No, man, I loved that John Wick movie. I love them. I rank them in order they came out. I think the best one is the first one, then the second, then the third. So, but that first one, man, yeah,
that's
great. Physical, that on digital, and always downloaded on my phone. Yeah, John
awesome.
Wick, for sure.
Number 16.
So what was the one I just said? 104?
104, yeah.
104, 16. 57.
Okay. What 5 people, living or dead, would you invite to dinner?
5 people, living or dead. Oh man, it's tough. It'd be easier if you said dead or living.
Okay.
The
Okay. What
combo.
5 people, dead or living, you invite to dinner?
No, it's the mix of both. That's tough.
Oh, gotcha.
If it was just living or just dead, I'd be able to compartmentalize in my brain.
Right.
Geez, living and dead. I feel like I need to make it fair.
If it makes it easier, they'll all be dead one day. So
That's true. Man, I'm trying to think of authors and C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien. So we got 2 dead guys. Pete Stewart. He's the guy who played in the band. I spent $75 on his demo CD.
Okay.
He went on to do Accident Experiment and then a bunch of solo stuff. Pete Stewart, C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien. I think Dave Grohl would be super fun to have at that table.
Yeah.
So I have authors, musicians. I need an actor. Let's go Chaplin. Let's have Chaplin at the table. He'd be entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. Nice group.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. Some literary people, some musicians. Yeah, that'd be a good group.
Yeah. Number 17.
Number 17. 147.
Okay. What is special about your hometown?
I'm from Eastern Canada. So the city I'm from, I grew up 5 minutes down the road. We have the highest tides in the world. So that's pretty cool. And a reversing falls. So we're a waterfall that goes in reverse.
Interesting.
And It's not that impressive. It's not like, and then
Yeah.
it flies up. It's like an angle. And
I
because
gotcha.
the pull of the tide is so crazy there, because it is the highest tides in the world, it really will reverse the flow where the river goes, and it will go up instead of
Wow.
going down. So, and I think it's for like a chunk of time during the day, for like a couple hours, a few hours, it'll switch and go in reverse.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah. So I think that's it, man.
Okay. Okay.
There's
That's more
Yeah,
interesting than my hometown, so
okay.
I'll tell you that much. I wouldn't ask myself that question.
Yeah, are you going? So I think KB just did it with me. You should
Yeah.
at some point have one of your buddies do this with you.
I should do that at some
I
time.
think it would be fun to watch you go through this.
Yeah.
I'll
It's
tell you-
it's always easier when you're asking the question. So.
100%, man. When KB was asking me, I was like, I just get to sit there and listen when I'm asking the questions. I don't have to
Right.
actually respond to any of this stuff.
Right.
So what number did I just do?
147. That was number 17.
147.
So,
Okay. All right.
so number 18.
Let's go 63.
All right. I didn't realize this was going to bring so much pressure on people. That's the one thing I've gotten feedback wise is like they weren't sure what was coming, and I guess that's true. I should know that, but it's kind of interesting that was the feedback I got. So.
I think the biggest pressure is like, that's why I'm writing them down. Like, I don't want to look like a bozo and go 51 and 2 minutes later 51.
That's true.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest pressure.
All right, number 63 is, what are the most important innovations of the last 50 years?
I mean, I think it's the internet, and I think it's the internet and cell phones, but there are things that for me, I would say there are great benefits to it, and then there's just so many drawbacks to it. And so I'd say they're great for a ton of reasons, but I mean, if you watch my channel, I love movies from the 20s through the 50s.
Sure.
And so if I could live in a world, it would be that one and not this one that is so rushed and so constant and so just nonstop.
Definitely.
So yeah, I have a cell phone because I need maps to find my way around this world.
Right.
And I want to be available for family if anything happened, but I just hate being on all the time. Yeah. And it's just so easy to get lost in rabbit holes, whether it's on YouTube or whatever, just like there's just an unlimited amount of information. So if I want to research something, it can be forever. And there's really no end almost. So you do have to be a pretty disciplined person to not get trapped in those things. But so I'd say they're the most important things, and they're great for something. So
it's so true what you said about like the time we're in now is so rapid. Everything moves so rapidly because I'll be 46 in a couple months, and the last 26 years seems to have gone by in what 5 of my first 20 years would have been.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's crazy. So.
Absolutely. It is going lightning fast, and I hate it. I just wish it would slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have that much time here, so slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
Number 19.
I know I did 150, so let's go down one. Let's go 149.
Okay. I don't think that one's been asked before.
Okay.
And it's an interesting question. What do you remember about September 11th, 2001?
Oh, wow. I feel like I remember every minute of the day. So I don't remember anything prior to when I found out. And I found out I got my car, and whatever radio station it was in that area, Howard Stern was on first thing in the morning. And I don't listen to Stern, but it was whatever radio station I finished on. The end of the day was what started with Stern. And I remember hearing him ask what was going on. It's literally when I got into the car, you just heard confusion. Mm-hmm. And then I got to work, which was a 15-minute drive. This is in 2000, and everybody is in my office, in the main office, around a little black and white television watching, because we didn't have, none of this was like online streaming at this point.
Right.
And everybody was around, I guess, 2001, everybody was around that little television. And then the next plane hit. And then I remember sitting in my office and I had radio on because I'm not streaming anything. So the radio's on. And then you heard about the Pentagon, you heard about Pennsylvania. And I remember just like getting super emotional and like feeling like this is the end of the world. Like,
yeah.
Like I never would have dreamed or fathomed that would happen. And then when you hear 1, 2, 3, 4, the next question is, well, where does the next one fall? You know, where does the next plane go down? And at the time I was only living like 5.5, 6 hours outside of New York City. And so I was in the state, I felt close to it all.
Mm-hmm.
And and then so at lunchtime, I remember going to the grocery store, which has this eatery with massive flat screen TVs, and everyone in the store was around them. And that's where we were for lunch. And then I didn't get off work that night till 9, but my wife and I immediately went home and I watched CNN till I couldn't stay awake any longer. And then I woke up super early, turned on CNN again. And it was, that whole day, I feel like I remember every minute from the announcement till I fell asleep. Yeah.
Same here. I pretty much did the same. And I remember I had a 1-year-old at that time.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what did I bring a child into? You know, it's kind of like the end of the world thing you mentioned.
Yeah.
You know, what was going to happen? Because to some degree, until they like shut down the flights, you're like, is this going to happen tomorrow again or something like that? You know, so.
Yeah. It literally changed how you understood so much. Your sense of safety, it changed everything. Yeah.
It's just crazy to me that seems like yesterday almost. And there are people that are technically adults now that weren't born when that happened. So
that's crazy to think about.
Yeah. So,
I remember, so it was September. So by, I think it was February or March, I was in New York City. I would take group for like 10 or 8 years. I took groups of middle schoolers and high schoolers to like serve in different areas in New York City.
Okay.
And I remember being there a few months later, just the pit and that church that's close by with just pictures of lost, missing people, just covering it. And I remember it was just silent. You were just there with this group. I was there with a group of high school students at the time, and you're just silent, and you're silent for hours just looking at these pictures because you saw that on CNN a few months ago, but now you're looking at it and you just feel the weight of it. And so, it was just, it's one of those things for us. We'll be telling our kids and grandkids like firsthand experience what it was to be here in the middle of that. It was awful.
Yeah. All right. Number 20. Maybe we'll get a more fun topic here.
43.
Okay.
Did you 43?
I don't think so.
Okay.
How do you fight the winter blues?
I've never heard this question yet. Awesome. The winter blues. I grew up in Canada, so it's like natural habitat. How do I fight the winter blues? Not with anything good. I like to eat and have a blanket on and watch TV. So I'm burning no calories and adding weight. So
that happens. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I do, man.
Okay. I do pretty much the same thing. So you're good.
It's the best. I'm not ashamed. It's the best.
All right. We're down to the last 5. We kind of flew through this. Number 21.
Let's go 110.
Okay.
110.
So I know you're not a horror fan, but
right.
We'll see if you have any answers for this. What are your Halloween night must-watch movies?
I do have every year I watch Frankenstein. So 1931, I watch it every single year.
Okay.
Yep. So that's my watch. what do I have? This year I do want to, because last year I watched Halloween and I watched Carrie. So this year I am asking friends who are horror friends. So if you have any recommendations, I'll take them. Of classic, it doesn't have to be super scary. It can be just like just classic films that you'd watch around the Halloween time. I do want to like branch out, watch maybe one or two more this October. So
I would recommend, and don't let the name scare you off. You've heard this name.
Okay.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh gosh. All right.
There's very little blood in it, so.
Isn't that, what's the guy's name?
Leatherface.
Ugh. Is that because there's wearing skin?
Yes.
Oh, gross. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
But this movie, the reason I suggested is it influenced so many movies after it. So,
okay,
it's a important piece of horror film. So,
and if by chance I opted not to watch that one, what would be your second choice?
Let's see. Try 1974 Black Christmas.
Black Christmas, 1974. 1974. All right.
There you go.
All right, man. Cool. Thank you.
No problem. All right. So Frankenstein, we got your answer for that.
Yeah, man. Huge fan of that guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Number 22.
Let's go 77.
Okay. I recommended Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm never getting on the 5 now. So
that was your first mistake, my friend.
Yeah, apparently. All right. What's your favorite movie of all time, and why do you like it?
Oh gosh. Well, I think I've mentioned on my channel. It's Rocky. Rocky would be it.
Okay.
And I don't think Rocky's the best movie. When I say Rocky, I mean like all 8 films into the Creed. Okay. Yeah. Sure. So for me, it's the whole saga into the second Creed film. Mm-hmm. And I would say my second, it's really hard to choose one of the two, but the Lord of the Rings films would be like right there behind it for my favorite films of all time.
Gotcha.
But I think Rocky would edge him out.
This is airing later, but I actually, last night, as it is right now, got to see my favorite. I always say if someone asks me what my favorite movie is, I say Jaws. Got to see it in IMAX last night. So
no way.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Great. That's another classic that I saw for the first time last year also. Okay. Yeah, I had never seen it, and I do have it on 4K now, so I do plan on watching it on that and enjoy it. But the IMAX must have been insane. Yeah, it was really cool. So there were little things, background things. You hear this a lot in 4K. You see things in the background you've never seen. I kind of had that experience with it. So really, yeah. So that's awesome, man. It was fun. Really cool. All right, 23. Let's go 95. Okay. What's the? Oh, go ahead. I should have taken 23 if I'm going with basketball jerseys. I should have gone with Jordan, but you got 2 left. So, well, I don't like Jordan that much. Oh, okay. What's the last movie you watched in the theater? I think it was Thor: Love and Thunder. Okay. I don't think I watched. Sometimes we go to as a family to see kids ones, but I think Thor was the last one I saw. Okay. Yeah. Cool. And I thought it was okay. Yeah, that's the most recent one, right? Yeah. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of dislike for that one for some reason. So I think the first 5 minutes of the film, I thought this is going to be the greatest comic book movie of all time. Okay. And it sets up this like deeply philosophical, bordering theological premise. And I was like, wow, that is like the biggest question humans have been asking for like all of history. And then it was just whatever and then the last 5-10 minutes, it bookended the first 5 minutes, and it was brilliant again. And so I loved 10 minutes. And then there was a couple jokes in the middle.
That's too bad.
And I was bummed because I loved Ragnarok. Ragnarok is my favorite MCU film.
That's a great one.
Yeah. And I love Taika Waititi. Jojo Rabbit is one of my all-time favorite films. So I think he's a brilliant director. And so my hopes were huge for this film. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
That's too bad. 24.
24. Did I do 101 yet? I'll go 101.
Okay. All right. Another kind of horror-ish question.
Perfect.
What was the scariest movie you've ever seen? It doesn't have to be horror, actually.
The scariest movie. Again, I don't watch much horror or scary stuff. Like Purge movies, I found the idea of the first Purge film really interesting. Messed up, but interesting. And then I watched one or two after that, and I found them more funny than anything, like just silly. But
right.
So I wasn't scared. Yeah, man, I don't know. Because I just don't watch a lot of. So the ones, so I would avoid it like the plague. So anything that's like home invasion, anything like kids, like I don't like any of that stuff. That to me is the scariest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone talk you into watching The Strangers this year.
You know what? I've heard about that one, and it's. Yeah, so it wouldn't be. No, it won't be on my list.
There you go. Make sure that's my advice and avoid that one.
What is that one? Hostage? Bruce Willis?
That sounds familiar.
There was a family. He was a cop, I think. It was not a horror film, but yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't watch. So I would have to go back to Pet Sematary as a kid, being scared out of my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we've kind of started where we're ending, but we got one more though. 25.
What was that? Did I say 101?
That was 24. So we have one more.
Okay. And was that question I asked for? Was that 101?
Yes. I'm sorry.
That one was 101. Okay. 122.
Okay. Keep getting like the Halloween stuff. It's kind of weird how it's working out. But did you have a favorite Halloween costume as a kid?
Halloween costume. So I don't have any recollection as a kid wearing. I know I went out all the time, but I don't have any recollection of it. So I don't know what time I quit doing Halloween. But like middle school, like everybody else does. And then in high school, my brother and my cousin were like, what have we done? Like, there's so much free candy out there. And at this point, I have like this super deep voice. I have a full beard in high school. I'm 6'1", and we're like, guys, let's just go out and do this one last time. So so like older high school kids, we went out. My cousin shaved his head, put a hat on sideways, said he was Charlie Brown. I put a handcuff on and said I was an escapee. And so I'm just showing up like an adult at someone's door with a handcuff hanging off with a pillowcase. They were probably more terrified, just like gave us candy just because
they thought you were an escapee.
So we were like hoofing it to get as much as possible and laughing our heads off the entire time. So that's the one I remember the most, is being like probably 11th or 12th grade. Very much should not have been doing that, but we thought it would be hilarious. And so I forget what my brother did, but it was Charlie Brown and Escapee and something else. But it was stupid, like as little effort as possible.
I like it. That's a great way to end.
Yeah, but perfect for getting free candy.
Absolutely. Well, you have made it through the Inquisition. I hope you feel like you've got through safely and without being too scraped up. How you feeling?
Well, I've clearly admitted to where all my problems arise from, that
That's true.
childhood experience.
Now we know how you can focus the counseling going forward. So.
That's true. No, man, this was fun. Yeah, and yeah, it was good. It was helpful writing down the numbers.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember. I forget which guest you had on did it the first time, and I was like, "That's what I would do. I would write them down."
Yes.
So,
yeah, I think the first one I recorded was with Physical Media Man, and I had no thought of maybe they should know what numbers they had used, so we got through it. But yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a great idea. Yeah. It's cool, man.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it. And everybody, make sure you go check out PlaidX2 here on YouTube. The link is in the description below. John's got some great videos out there. Make sure you support him if you're new to him. If you are new to Smores Indoors, please check out the stuff we have on here. It can get weird, but it's fun. We have a fun time. And if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, like the videos, whatever you want to do. So, John, thank you once again for being on.
Cool. Thanks, Corey. I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah. And to everyone else, take it easy. We'll see you next.